You can't imagine how miserable some lottery winners become after winning millions of dollars in the jackpot. So what brought about such disasters and tales of woe? Let's dive into the dark truth of these once upon a time happy winners. Haunted by money vampires. When you win a $100 million jackpot, you may think your world has become a paradise and your happiness is forever. But when everyone around you, and I mean everyone, starts making money demands on you, then you'll begin to wonder when you'll wake up from the nightmare. These demands come in the form of phone calls, knocks on your door, and emails. The shortlist will include your family members you haven't heard from in several years, but all of a sudden, they're calling you their favorite uncle, aunt, brother, sister, or cousin. Your friends or acquaintances, probably most of whom you quit hanging out with a long time ago, will come out of the blues and tell you they can't wait to see you, calling you old buddy. They would use the opportunity to tell you about debts or bills that were trying to swallow them and ask you to save them. You would also battle with investors who know you're loaded, and they would want to sell you a can't-miss investment opportunity. The moment you give them a huge amount of cash for the priceless project, they tell you a more extensive plan of the business that would require more millions from you. Then you have charitable organizations to contend with. Yes, it's noble for a lottery winner to give to charity, and that's truly the dream of many, but all the world's problems can't be taken care of by you alone. At one point, you've got to say no to avoid going broke and eventually filing for bankruptcy. Sandra Haynes won the Missouri lottery worth $224 million. Her book, How Winning the Lottery Changed My Life, is filled with her sad experiences after winning the lottery. She spoke with the Associated Press about her tough encounters, saying she had a hard time adjusting to her winnings. "I had to endure the greed and the need people have, trying to get you to release your money to them," Hayes said. "That caused a lot of emotional pain. These people are people who you've loved deep down, and they're turning to vampires, trying to suck the life out of me." Family members can drain both your pocket and emotions when you hit the jackpot. So what about strangers who begin to stalk winners? Becoming a target. Some lottery winners who won millions of dollars end up becoming prime targets. Andrew Whitaker won the $314 million Powerball jackpot in 2002. Less than a year after, in August 2003, thieves broke into his car, which was parked in front of a strip club in Cross Lanes, West Virginia. They made away with $545,000 in cash that Whitaker had left carelessly in the back of his car. Whitaker was well known as the lottery jackpot winner, and unfortunately, he went down the drain with his poor choices. He had actually told some women at the strip club that he had more than $500,000 in cash in his car at the moment. In less than an hour, his car was burgled, and the briefcase containing the money was gone. In a related event, two employees at the club, the general manager and the dance manager, who were both having an affair, were arrested and charged with a plot to put drugs in Whitaker's drinks and then rob him. Again, on January 25, 2004, thieves broke into his car and made away with $200,000 in cash, which, however, was later recovered. Granted, it isn't a great idea to move around with cash, but the mere knowledge that Whitaker was a jackpot winner made him an easy target. Manuel Franco of West Allis, Wisconsin, became a target of harassment after winning a $768 million jackpot in April 2019. Then 24-year-old Franco enthusiastically held a news conference to discuss his win, but reportedly went into hiding after he was harassed by strangers and the news media. As if that wasn't bad enough, scammers hijacked Franco's name, using it to defraud people thousands of dollars. The Better Business Bureau of Wisconsin confirmed this development and began warning people in 2021 about messages from scammers claiming to be Franco, the multi-million-dollar winner. The scammers used Franco's name to send people text messages, phone calls, social media messages, and emails, trying to obtain personal information telling them they'd been selected to receive money. According to the BBB, those scammers got more than $13,000 from the unsuspecting public, including people in Colorado and Alabama. Please take a moment and hit the like button. You can leave your comments below. Back to our topic. When strangers attack a $1 million lottery winner to rob them or use their names in scams, it's usually frightful and saddening for the winners, but it's even sadder when a loving relationship sours over your lottery winnings. Strained relationships. Lots of lottery winners have experienced strained and torn relationships. When you win a mega jackpot and you turn down family or friends' request for financial assistance, automatically your relationship with those individuals will get strained and could deteriorate and break permanently. After winning millions in a lottery, Hayes narrated her story in a 2012 St. Louis Dispatch of how a friend she had known for years approached her for financial assistance, saying she was in debt of 3 years' worth of back taxes. Her friend said she was about to lose the house if she didn't pay up. Hayes decided to check her out on a government website for tax records on her friend's property, only to find out the taxes were all paid in full. Hayes printed out the page in question and mailed it to her friend. After that, they never spoke to each other again, according to Hayes. When Gillian Bayford and her then-husband won $187 million in a Euro Millions lottery in August 2012, she thought everyone would be happy. But the reality was the opposite of her expectations. According to her, her most important relationships were ruined after she won the jackpot. She told The Sun that she had given her family a total of about £20 million, which was about $25 million to take care of family debts and the personal needs of her family members. In another interview with The Mirror, Bayford explained that soon after her win, she began to pay off debts her relatives had generated. She said she had paid off about the equivalent of $887,000 in debt, which her father, who died in 2021, and her brother owed after a failed business venture. She also said her mother had pressured her into giving her brother some money to the tune of $800,000 to $1 million. After that, her brother stopped talking to her and got married without inviting her to the wedding. Bayford was also not talking to her mother for a long time. As if these weren't enough, her relationship with her husband took a downward dive, and they ended up separated 15 months after winning. Indeed, to win millions in lottery games and lose the loving relationships you once had must be devastating. Couples often fall out after winning the lottery millions due to irreconcilable differences that suddenly appear. But some winners don't need another person involved to ruin their lives. Drug overdose. Some lottery winners have expired through drug overdose, and some also lost close relatives to overdose due to indulgence. Going back to Whitaker's case, he lost his granddaughter, 18-year-old Brandy, to a supposed drug overdose, although Whitaker believed foul play. He had always given the granddaughter $2,100 every week, which she spent with her boyfriend, who was also doing drugs. 3 months after her boyfriend died from a drug overdose, Brandy went missing for several weeks. Her body was found wrapped in a tarp and hidden behind a rusted-out van. Her case was deemed an overdose. Whitaker felt his world cave in under him. Take the case of Amanda Clayton of Lincoln Park, who won $1 million in Michigan Lottery's game show Make Me Rich in September 2011 as another example. She was found dead inside an Ecorse home, aged 25. Clayton, who generated hot debate after she was found to be collecting food stamps and state medical aid after winning the lottery, was the reason a legislative change on food stamps in Lansing occurred. But the sad truth was, her sudden death barely a year after winning the lottery was said to have been caused by a drug overdose. When people with drug addictions win millions in a lottery, they spiral downwards, and most times they end up dead. But nothing that dramatic needs to happen for a winner's life to take a turn for the worse. Guilt and boredom. Did you know that some people battle with feelings of guilt after winning millions of dollars in a lottery? It might sound awkward, but it happens. Then there's boredom to contend with. Some million-dollar lottery winners have fallen into the trap of pleasure hunting because they felt bored after winning and quitting their jobs. When such a person embarks on pleasure trips, a lot could go wrong, from squandering his money to dying of a drug overdose. "My life was hijacked by the lottery" is Donna McKinn's statement a few years after winning $34.5 million in the New York State Lottery in 2007. She explained the big win damaged her life and led to emotional bankruptcy. "Most of us think that winning the lottery is the ultimate fulfillment, but I found that wasn't the case," she explained in a 2014 blog post. "Most people look at winning the lottery as some magic pot of gold waiting for you at the end of the rainbow." The Long Island woman said she was a happy person before the win. "When we won the lottery, my inner dialogue was manic. I became more concerned about how I was being judged and perceived, not realizing I was the one doing the judging in the first place," she wrote. If you asked me, my life was hijacked by the lottery. Do you agree that winning the lottery could make someone mentally uncomfortable? Tell us in the comments below. Let's see how the inability to manage funds can derail a lottery millionaire. Gross mismanagement. When you have millions of dollars overnight, you'll need a high level of financial maturity to be stable in your behavior and spending. Unfortunately, about 70% of lottery winners file for bankruptcy within a few years. This is only possible through the reckless management of the lottery funds. If you're not disciplined in financial management and you suddenly find yourself with millions, there's a higher tendency for you to squander the money. Take Laura and Roger Griffiths, who won a $2.19 million jackpot in 2005. But 6 years later, their marriage went south after Laura found compromising emails on Roger's computer coupled with their reckless spending, which eventually left them with just £7 in the bank. Well, if you ask Roger, he would say he chased his rock star dreams and spent heavily for the band to release an album. They bought an expensive house, luxury cars, and accessories, and enrolled their daughter at an expensive private school. The couple had a bitter divorce in 2013, and 10 years after, Laura, a former teacher, now works 7 days a week, managing her own tattoo parlor and makeup studio from her shed in her garden. The 53-year-old told The Sun in an exclusive interview that she's working hard to take care of her 2 children. "I spent all my money on my 2 kids, and I'm not complaining about that. We live in the house Roger and I bought before the lottery, and I have a tattooing business that's successful. I work 7 days a week. I love my job and I love my clients. A lot of my ex-pupils are my customers. I consider myself incredibly lucky. I've got a nice life." The fact here is that this couple squandered millions of dollars in the space of 6 years, having only £7 in their bank account. This is the height of mismanagement. But thank goodness, Laura has been able to recover herself and runs a successful tattoo parlor. From mismanagement, we turn to a deadly habit that promises to ruin any lottery winner gullible enough to swim in it. Gambling. Gambling might seem great when you're winning, but it's an addictive kind of game. When you win a lottery, which is a form of gambling, you have to be extremely careful not to allow yourself to be drawn into real gambling, where you stake huge sums of money. That's the worst thing that could happen to any winner. The case of Evelyn Adams is a typical example. After winning $3.9 mil and $1.4 mil within 5 months in the 1985 Pick 6 lottery, Adams thought she had become an expert in gambling games. She embarked on a gambling spree, losing so much of her money. She also gave away too much money. Unable to curtail her spending, she was left with no money by the turn of 2000. She became destitute and moved into a trailer in New Jersey. Gambling is the ruin of many lottery millionaires, coupled with an expensive lifestyle that cannot be sustained. Lavish spending. Living a recklessly expensive lifestyle can be the downfall of many lottery winners. It becomes the darkness in which they cannot see until it's too late. Alex Toth won 13 mil in a lottery and decided to take his winnings in annual installments, which were paid in the strange amount of $666,666. Within a few years, he split from his wife and was charged with tax fraud by the IRS. The Florida resident later checked into a mental institution after his divorce and died at the age of 60. But what was his financial status at the time of his death? Well, broke. He died broke after he'd squandered his money on an expensive lifestyle. Gerald Muswagon is another cautionary tale that highlights the dark truth of living with lottery millions. He won a $10 million jackpot on a $2 lotto ticket in 2011. But within a few years, he was down to nothing. He bought a house that doubled as a nightclub, hosting his ever-growing legion of freeloaders. He blew more of his money on expensive cars, gifts, and partying while getting involved with the law a number of times, as reported by The Globe. At the end of it all, he resorted to manual labor on a farm to be able to take care of his girlfriend and 6 young children. In 2018, 7 years after his big win, Muswagon hanged himself in his parents' garage. That's how millions of lottery money blind many winners. They think the money won't run out. They feel that there's no tomorrow, but there's always a tomorrow. William Post is another $1 million winner who won $16.2 mil in the Pennsylvania lottery in 1988. Just 1 year later, he hit the rocks and was $1 million in debt. His ex-girlfriend sued him, claiming the right to a part of his winnings, and his brother reportedly hired a hitman to take him out, as reported by Forbes. One of his major problems was his reckless spending. He bought boats, houses, cars, and a twin-engine plane that he didn't even have a license to fly. Post died broke in 2006, despite being fortunate to win millions. A misfortune brought about by a person unto himself is a different case, but when a lottery winner falls victim to an evil plot from a false friend, it's beyond painful. Grief. I'd have been better off broke. This was the heartbreaking statement a lottery winner, Abraham Shakespeare, kept telling his brother. Shakespeare's life was taken by 2 gunshots to his chest after he won $30 million in 2009. He was buried under a slab of concrete in the backyard. According to ABC News, D.D. Moore, who was said to have befriended him after his lotto win, was found guilty of first-degree murder in 2012. His brother, Robert Brown, told the BBC that Shakespeare always expressed his regret at winning the lottery. "I'd have been better off broke," he said to me all the time, Brown said. The execution of Shakespeare by criminals, just because he won millions in a lottery, is the reason some winners choose to go anonymous. Other winners who died from the burden of request would have chosen anonymity if they knew the pressure would be unbearable. The burden of request. If Billy Bob Harrell Jr. knew the harassment he would face after winning $31 million in 1997 would be so depressive, he would probably have opted to receive his winnings anonymously. He ended up taking his own life when the pressure of demands from family and friends became unbearable in 1999. One may not consider excessive requests a nightmare, but when you can't bear the pressure of these requests, it can be torturous. This tragic story shows just how badly lottery winners can be treated. But it's almost worse when the harassment comes from law enforcement. Lawsuits. Some lottery winners attracted so much attention that even law enforcement hounded them as well for the tiniest offenses. Whitaker became a person of special interest to the state police after he won hundreds of millions of dollars. He was arrested for minor offenses many times after his winnings, while he had a spotless record before he won the lottery. Within 18 months, he was cited to have committed 250 violations, from broken taillights on each of his 5 new cars to improper showcasing of renewal stickers. He charged police organizations for harassment, which resulted in nothing, and he had to pay high court costs. In all, million-dollar lottery winners go through nightmares and dark times that continue to serve as cautionary tales to us. Lottery winners should take a look at these rich NBA stars who live like average Joes and learn from them before it's too late. Watch this video to see how beautiful financial discipline can be.